Now we got sound. Alright. Let's get going on this. Okay, so the HP. This is, we're continuing from this little guy. Let me grab it. We are continuing from this little Lenovo N22 that we had to rescue using the M.2 SATA drive because the eMMC drive was corrupted, infected. No real way to pull the data. Can't remove a chip soldered to the board. So the customer had this. This was a family member that had passed away. I've already taken and pulled the data from the hard drive, which there wasn't much, just basically set up a user account and did a little bit of browsing and never did much after that on the computer. So there really isn't any data, but we got a list of passwords and stuff also from this person that wanted us to try and unlock it, just to, you know, get in and see the computer, see if there's anything. It's at the point now where you, if you want to type the PIN or password in, you get one try, and you have to type the challenge phrase, and then you get to try again, and then it resets, or it just may be reset. So though there's no reasonable way to test the time, or to test different passwords, to keep testing and testing different passwords. And what he wants to do with this is actually upgrade it and use it for himself. He was stuck on using this or buying a new computer, thought that this may be good, so wanted an opinion on it. We gave him one, and he wants to go with that versus buying a new computer. So we're gonna continue with this. Oh, you can actually see the Stream Deck. I forgot about that. Alright, we don't need to be running too much Stream Deck. Let's get the camera back where it's supposed to be. Alright. A little bit of lake there, not too much. This has already been pulled apart. There was a DVD drive internally that the one rail was, I'll show you. Let me get a mat under this so we're not scratching the lid. Okay, so the one rail had popped loose, and this rail that lets the tray extend out was popped loose and was sticking out ahead of the tray when it was shut, and it didn't work at all, didn't function. A friend's DVD was stuck inside, so we can return that. I don't know if he has the rest of his family members' season 5 discs, or if it was a set or what, but if we put it in, I don't know if you could hear any of that. Let's go for it again. So it just does some beeping. So we're at least going to, at the minimum, replace it with another slim drive. We still don't have a door, funny enough, but we do have a drive. We might be able to get a door that would work with it if we take and shape the door. It's not going to fit the profile exactly. This one takes a disc in without beeping, so we'll throw that in. Are you going to eject? Ah, I did hit the eject, okay. Alright, on to bigger and better things. We are yet at another bit of a conundrum with hard drives. As I said, I already had this apart. Already had it apart. We're going to take and pull the hard drive back out. I don't know if I have a hard drive placeholder. I might. If I do, we'll put that in to hold that in. Or, no, I think we could literally just set it in there. The ribbon cable should hold it in. Or we could put this in. We'll ask him. That's one thing that would be easy to do. We have the data backup from the deceased family member. We could just format this and put it in as external storage. For now, we want it out. We have a few things to do. We can see here, I'm going to straighten this camera up some. We can see here that we have 8 gigabytes of dtPC4 2400T. So he didn't want to stick with the 8. 8's a good number. 8's a good minimum, I think. I mean, I know there's a lot less for the minimum of Windows 10, but I think 8's a good baseline minimum. You'll have okay performance. You throw in a 4 and get 12, a 2 to get 10, or another 8 to get 16. So we bought a matching stick to throw into this. So let's go ahead and get that. And if we also want to take note, after getting that in, we have right here, and there I go, smacking the mic. We have right here an M.2 drive. We could Google, but why? Let's see what this thing is capable of doing. We still have a not unopened, but very new, as we tested this in one other computer and it couldn't read. We have our NVMe M.2 drive. We're going to throw this in and power the laptop on, go into the BIOS and see if it sees it. If it does, then it does, and we will install an OS to it. If it doesn't, we have another, and when this time we didn't pull the drive out of my system. We actually got the same thing that I pulled from my system, another M.2 SATA drive instead of NVMe, because it's going to work with one or the other or both, and we just want to be prepared so we can finish up this job. He should be in to pick it up tomorrow, hopefully, I think. Alright, we got that secured. Let's put some power to this thing and see what the situation is. What is the BIOS on these? F10. Okay, and we have a system BIOS up. Let's take a look. Wow, that's dim. And we've got no way to brighten that screen up, so we're just going to have to live with it the way it is. We can do that to cut the glare. Let's take a little bit of a look. Serial UUID inside BIOS vendor. I don't see anything about the M.2 NVMe drive, so let's find our boot options. And disk network. System config. Yeah, I see nothing going on with it. Windows 10 is a factory installed. OS primary serial number not available. Well, let's get our light back on and find out we're just gonna pull this drive and boot, not boot, install our M.2 SATA drive. Either way, it's gonna be a little bit of a speed boost for it. So, well, what a pain! That doesn't want to come out of there. Now, if it reads the M.2 SATA and not the NVMe M.2 drive, could we load a driver during Windows setup to get it to see it? Possibly, I don't know. I've never messed with that too much. This is not new technology, but still newer. A lot of computers that we service don't have these in because everybody here is running old computers. Fun times. F10 BIOS. Okay, so I still see nothing. As far as whether it's recognizing the hard drive. Let's give it a reboot. Legacy support. No, we don't want to do that. Let's hit no. Secure boot enabled. We're going to pull with F6, pull up our USB disk on key, USB hard disk to boot to. Boot manager, what is that? Toshiba. No, that's wrong. The Toshiba drive is not in anymore. So it still sees that old drive that's clearly not in. Maybe it's just recorded into the BIOS. Escape and exit saving changes. Yes, we're going to jump right back into our BIOS and see if we can see the crucial hard drive that we just stuck in. It's a 500 gig. Okay, so no actual confirmation that it works. Exit saving changes. Yes, and it did that. We're gonna power it down. Plug our ribbon cable back in so we have the USB working on this side. That's there. For now, we'll put our bottom on. We're going to get our Windows 10 install running. And hop on over to, we're going to revisit yesterday's, because like I said, I did some discoveries were made. I put a post, a comment on the videos on Facebook, not YouTube, just on Facebook. 10 installer, there we go. And we will button everything back up at a later point. Let's see if we can get this install going. The USB hard drive, sure. Next for our Windows install. Let's move you out of the way. I know better than to try. I know this isn't going to send any video out. If it sees the hard drive, we're going with it. Drive 0, unallocated space, 465.8 gigabytes. We're going to hit next to use it all. And there goes our install. The only thing possibly that we would need to open this back up for is what we installed, the RAM. We got the hard drive in, we're doing the Windows install. We have the drive that makes noise. We'll put one that doesn't with the proper tie down. What locks the drive in. We just need to find a door, if we can find a door. I don't know that he's much going to care for a door. Alright, so it does open if you finagle with the little button. Not today, Samsung. You've got no business here. We will use you in yet another device. I'm going to set this thing on its back. The only thing possibly that we may need to open it for is to put that hard drive back in. We will let him know that he has it for storage. We can throw it back in easily. We have some screws to sort out. 2 long ones. I think would go on each side. Yes. I don't want this thing falling shut, but I want to see at least where I'm putting this stuff in. Now they are all the same length other than those, I believe. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's none different. There's one that's pretty dirty. That was undoubtedly the one locking in that optical drive. Oh no, what did we do? Huh, we caught it on the reboot, really? I wasn't watching, so I have no idea what's going on here. Ah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just counting all the screws. Okay, so we've got an HP logo with nothing going on. I suppose we should have waited to see what was happening. No. Okay, let's go take a look. Boot options. It should have booted to that drive, unless I bumped it. I suppose that's a possibility. Let's pull the OS boot manager up. F6. Exit saving changes and see what happens. HP with the Windows spinner, I like it. Getting devices ready, perfect. So I guess it was on the reboot and I just shut it down. Impatient this one is. Off with his hands, he can't quit meddling. I'm definitely not a big fan of when they do this with computers. At least they're getting better at it, I will say that much. That much can be said, that they're starting to not stick the feet down. They have little tabs that pull up to let you go in and pull screws out. And they only stick down the essential part of the foot. If you're going to hide screws under rubber feet that are stuck down, this is clearly the way to do it. I don't think, yeah, it's not the same story on the back ones. They had them stuck down. Or no, they didn't. They're just thicker feet. That's why it pulled the whole thing up. Alright, so another reboot. It's cycling around, getting into Windows further. Nice, nice, nice. Where's the button on this side?
Hi there, I'm Cortana.
Oh,
I'm here to help.
Cortana, you're back.
A little sign in
Thank
here,
you.
your Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do.
Thank you, Cortana.
Use your voice or the key.
Shut up. Alright, so one computer upgraded. It's better than the spinny mechanical hard drive. I'm gonna say a little faster. Still, I don't know what level of machine this was. I'm not familiar with the HP 17B series laptops, so. I know we have to click on some stuff, so we'll do that momentarily. And then see if there's any updates, and we'll get data restored on this later. Not going to do all that on stream. I want to get over to this PlayStation 4, the revisit. So I did have it torn slightly apart, trying to check on power buttons. They were doing nothing. Just nothing. No way, no how. Nothing working out. That seems like an awfully long screw to wind in such a short area. I'm going to see if this bumps this apart, because it seems like it is feeding into a very long area. Well, it's not popping apart. I'm going to go with it. Enter for United States. Or English, enter for US, enter for skip. We don't need another keyboard layout. We're going to skip connecting to the network. I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. And we can just put a name in. With no password, we'll let them do this, or if they gave us account info, we can do it later. Turn on all the best spy features from Windows 10, of course. Just next, next, next. By default. What else do we have here? We do. Everything a quick, decent wash off minus the power button. I don't want to press that right now. We'll have to start this all over. Leave his factory stickers on there. His, hers, theirs. The customer's main concern, their main concern was to not upgrade to a piece of junk. I'm gonna say a seventh generation Intel Core i5, even though it's a mobile CPU, is not gonna be complete junk, and that will be future proof. If he said if he can get a couple years out of it, that would be okay. So I think we'll get a couple years out of it. The rest of it's built pretty well. There was an option for the M.2 drives there, so we'll take it. Take it and run like the wind. This is going to be traveling a bit. That was why the super ultra light little Lenovo N22 was in use, but There's no even real finger dirt or wear spots on this keyboard, so like I said, it wasn't used a bit, other than to just basically get it, turn it on, plug in the name, same setup I've done, and then browse a little bit. And that was basically it. Nothing beyond that. Now that we're at the desktop, we will take and connect it to the Wi-Fi. Get it off to the side. Where can we set you, my friend? You're in the way. You need more cord. Help us. Help us. And just in case we don't want to pull the cord on accident, give me a second here. Okay, and we're back with audio. I accidentally had turned the laptop off when I was attempting to put the battery in, or slept it. The neodymium magnet got too close when I closed it to put the magnet in. We're going to skip for now, let him do the online setup account aspect. Does have an internet connection, so we'll at least check for any updates. I don't think that was the most recent Windows installer. Go. There you are. Check for updates, and we're going to move this thing out of the way, because it is clearly in the way right now. Okay, so this may seem a bit repetitive or slightly boring, because we covered at least part of this yesterday. But I noticed something very that I didn't notice before, and there's a few things that I didn't check that I could have checked, like would the PlayStation turn on with the controller. I was focused on the power supply because they said the power button was not working. My initial thoughts were that, well, the power button probably works, it's probably the power supply. But wrong of me to think that. So I did call to get more info on what exactly the troubles were with the PlayStation 4. And one thing is, I was right, 100% right. Somebody had torn it apart. They had been inside it, torn it down. Somebody very inexperienced, and didn't really, that wasn't their thing. And I'd said all this before I actually noticed what I'm about to show you here now. Let's throw that back over, get away, or throw away that. We have HDMI. Where is the one that goes with the console? That's what I care about. They brought a cord and an HDMI cable. It is not that. It'd be this. Yes. Alright, so here is the PS4 that we had on this very bench yesterday. Here is what I noticed. I picked up the bag. I was going to put away the cord for the controller, the power cable on that, and I noticed that we had loose parts in there, loose screws. At that point I started taking a look around. Remember I said that there was a screw missing, that I thought somebody had torn it apart and there were screws missing, quite a few missing. Okay, well here's where it gets good. We have a bit of work ahead of us. This is basically where I left off with it. What is dinging? Something dinged. I don't like that when stuff loses connection. Makes you real nervous. Wow, this is actually quite impossible in this moment, picking this power supply up here. Alright, so we know that we had screws missing. We got the power supply out. But not only did we have screws missing, we really have to take a look at things. So much so that we got to tear back into my wife's PlayStation 4. Because I don't have the screws memorized where they go, so we got to open this up and we're going to compare the screws one for one. Basically, we can't just match up the heads because some you have silver ones and black ones. I think there's black ones, either black or silver. I think there's fine thread and coarse thread that both have the same color head. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I'm not a console person, but we're going to do the comparisons right now and see. We'll put all her parts over there and see what all errors we can notice. Now again, they are different generations from each other. Basically one revision iteration newer, but still enough that we can tell if something is up with it. This out of the way for the time being. I want to get through this as fast as possible. Alright, and that verdict is in. Alright, so we have this here, PlayStation PS4, and this is the what did I say it was? 2115B. Man, we really need to, we gotta compare this stuff, because I'm not sure what all was done. We may have to rip it down further. I don't know how far it went to get it down, so. Alright, I think we can see them both there. Okay. So from the state I got it, we're going to take a look and see what I can find wrong. Now granted, I had to open it up, but the whole time I was saying about something's off. Somebody was in this because there were screws missing, stuff not put back in place. And I was right. Somebody had torn it apart with supervision, obviously, to see that. And at least a proper toolkit. I was told they had the right bits, so they weren't using a flathead to try and pull out Torx bits or whatever. Wow, is that really the case? Okay, so basically they just made ways to make it cheaper, because I see plastic bits here, but then I see a wrong screw holding the fan in, but it doesn't seem wrong, so I guess I can't compare the ones on this side. If we can't compare these, we can at least compare some. We have a Torx, a Phillips, yeah, everywhere that I have Phillips, they've got melted black plastic tabs. Let's go ahead, we need to tear out this power supply here. You don't belong to a PlayStation, do you? No, you're PC. Get out of here. Power supply coming out of my wife's machine. Oh, hold on. What is it I said? We have the one we need to not forget on the other side. And that will let our power supply come out. It is a short screw. And then this thing basically falls apart. We have some looking, seeking to do. We may have to Google the answer, because there's this metal bracket piece missing. don't know if it's on an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 that there's one or two little and away we go. Alright, so some big differences already. We've got one antenna wire, and this one has two. So we're missing even the whole tie-down point where it's soldered on for it to connect isn't even there. This wire isn't even tucked in where it was, so that could have possibly been pinched by the power supply. Hopefully not. Everything looks good on that, except for the wire being out of place. I will say that. Let me show you the pieces that we have. This is what we have to find homes for, if this could prove to be interesting. Alright, so we have to find homes for 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and then this little fine threaded thing. Small round. How do you even describe that? How do you even describe that? It's probably a simple explanation where it goes, but I don't know how far down this thing was torn. So one, two, three, four. Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Let's go on over to the goggle and see what we can search for. Mystery piece inside a PS4. What is it? View the answer. Okay, so that's that one. Unknown piece. What does his unknown piece look like? Does he have a picture? Let's find this picture. Not found. That's what I'm saying. Okay, here we go. Manually check here. So not it. Small metal piece. Let's try that. Okay, that is indeed it. That's gonna, yeah, okay. Let's get back to our camera. So that piece is going to be, where is that? That will be when we get to the heatsink, so I'm not sure if it's this side. I don't think we have to open up this side. At least I hope not. I hope we can get into only this side. And this is the wrong one. So before I commit to that, we need to work on this one. So one thing, boy, is that is really loose. So, and that, let's see what kind of screws in here. Is it a threaded screw or the machine screw? Oh, that's definitely a machine screw coming out of there. So this screw was one of the ones put back. Yeah, it won't even come out. It was just kind of locked into the plastic, but with the leaving the, yeah, that has to be. Not only that, the ribbon cable was folded weird and not plugged in properly. That could be a reason why the button wasn't working. To turn it on, let's lift that out. Oh yeah, okay, so that's the wrong screw for the power button. We can see here, let's zoom in quite a bit. Okay, so that's the screw they had in holding the power button in place, and the screw that you're going to want is going to be more like that. So two entirely different things that go through that center hole and hold your power button in place. I do know that much. Actually, pressing the power button repeatedly probably would let that pop loose. I doubt that even, like I said, the whole assembly was jiggly. The whole assembly was just jiggly in the socket where it sat. So this screw wasn't holding it in very well. We need something more like that. Alright, we're going to tear this thing down. Here's another thing. So this is going to be quite a bit different. Well, maybe not quite a bit, but different enough that it's going to be scary tearing it apart. We have a lot of screws that are different. Okay, we've got 3 black ones across the front, when indeed this one, it should not be a black one. It is indeed one of these silver ones that coincidentally has the same threads as the black ones, is just not as long. Or maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe, no, it's not even. So it's not even a silver metal thread, it's a silver coarse thread. We'll look. Yeah, let me zoom this back out. We'll look over here. So this screw here had a black one in. We're looking on this PlayStation, my wife's. It is a silver coarse thread when it goes in, so we'll go ahead and put one of those in there. And we're just going to check back and forth. What screws we have on one that match to another, we're going to make them the same. At least on this side. Like I said, we do need to open this up. That seems long. How long is this one again? Okay, so a very short one. Go ahead and thread that in. Okay, now I do notice that one difference. After the silver one that we replaced on both sides, well, pulled this out to check it, replaced the right one here. If we come down just a little bit from it, on this one we'll have 1, 2, 3 black screws. We don't. We've got the one back here with nothing over anything else. So this one, wow, the ribbon cables are laid out differently. So I don't even know actually. I can only just do a comparison of what screws I have in what places to see that hopefully they're right. Another spot I'm going to say that they didn't change the revision on is up here along the front. Okay, so we have a silver screw, and we got two of the little silver screws. So these got wound in there pretty far because the black screws are a tad longer than the silver ones, at least the black ones that are the black machine thread screws. So we'll pull those two out. We're going to put the two short metal ones in. There's two silver shorter machine thread metal ones in. I don't have the sizes on these, but I do know that they're the same thread, so easily confused. And then after we get all these screws semi back to normal, we've got another silver one. Let's check and see what it is. Is it a coarse thread? It is. We will check coarse thread on this one. Okay, so it is a coarse thread, and we should have a coarse thread here. We do. Is it a long or short one? Short one. Let's check this to see if it's a short or long one. Short. Okay, so we have silver, black, silver around the edge, and then we got the plastic tab sticking up through an empty hole, and then we have a silver screw that goes here to hold the top plate down on this one. Then we have the threaded hole for the screw that comes through for the power supply on the other side. And then we have the hole for the silver screw that we pull out that we are still missing. So one of these, hopefully we're not missing that many. One of these screws is in the wrong spot. It's up to us to find it. We're really hoping that the coarse thread didn't get wound through and ruin the threads on a metal piece where it's machine thread. So we have the short one and the long one. We have the Wi-Fi card to stick back down and the power button to screw in. Let's check these two. Are they machine? Coarse thread. Coarse thread, and then I want to check the one over on the side. You can't see it, but I'm checking on this PlayStation, this screw. It's a coarse thread short one because it's one of the few that I have in the same spot, and that one works. Coarse thread short. So we've got a match there. Hello, what are you? We have a coarse thread long one holding down the other Wi-Fi antenna. Let's check this one. Ah, there's the short one that we need. Short coarse threaded screw that we need for, come on, focus camera already, for our power button. So we will go ahead and put this. I think that long one's too long. Let's check to see. Oh yeah, that's even way longer. So maybe, no, that is the short one for our power button. So we can put that power button and disk eject. We can put that in now. And we have to find a spot where we need find a spot where we need a long coarse thread Phillips screw and pull the short one out that is put in there. So let's set this in where it goes. We'll get our screw, our power button in place, and it shouldn't wiggle about once we use a coarse thread screw to hold it down. Like it did before. No, that's grabbing that. Yeah, that'll hold it right in place. And why that is, with it wiggling about, and it probably could have popped out, the screw is holding the whole power button assembly in. It's screwed in that way. Naturally, the console sits upright like this, like it is. This is the top, this is the bottom. And when you're pressing the buttons, if the board has movement because the wrong screw was holding it in, it'll flex, and your power button would probably be real iffy, which is one of the things that was reported, that the power button wasn't working after it was torn apart. Let's take note of another thing I just saw. Our fan is not plugged in at all, so, and this was torn down to clean the fan, so interesting. How did they do that? I wonder if the fan even comes out, or if this even opens on this side. I don't think it does. I think because we have plastic tabs, yeah, those don't exist on my wife's PlayStation, so this is just a revision that they found a way to save some screws because parts cost money. Can you blame them? Alright, let's continue our search. So we had our silver, black, black. I have an extra black one there, and then I have these marked from when I had it torn down originally to tear it apart to do some testing, versus this to another PS4 Slim, just testing out components on the motherboard. So that's how I got all the marks on this one. 2 silver, black, black, black exists right here. You can see here and here these screws are the same. On mine there isn't one, yet here there is one, and I think I don't have that screw there, but they do. And actually the spot where I said here and here, they don't have a screw at that location, and it looks like it's torque screwed down underneath it, so we're going to end up having to tear this whole plate off. Just for curiosity's sake, let's see these black screws thread into this mystery metal piece. That's what I want to know. And it does. Okay, so yeah, we've got some hunting to do. There is an arrow pointing here, so I hope there's not another lost piece that will hold that screw in. If we take the same one out on my wife's console, I can see what's underneath it that it screws into. And it does look like some little piece that is not sitting there. Possibly, hopefully, this sets in that location. That would be amazing if that's where that went to hold the black screw in there. Okay, let's continue on. Fast, fast, fast. Okay, the ones on the edge. We have 1, 2 silver. Let's say this black screw. How did we end up with so many? It was sticking down through, so we're swapping it over to a silver. How do we end up with so many extra screws? Is there more than one console being torn down? Could be. And then, so basically, the screw I don't have here, it's here on this one. I have it here, but they don't have it. They don't have anything underneath to hold, unless it was there and got broken off. But I don't see any evidence of breaking. So, yeah. Alright. Everything looks pretty good. We're going to go around and put black marks where the black screws are, so I can tear further into this thing. Black. And we made our minds up that these were in the right spots. Got a black one there and black one there. We're missing the screw there, like on the other one. The fan connector switch sides as well. And also black one there, and there, and there. We're going to assume those are right because I don't really have a way to check them. But the ones that I can check, I do have a black one right here beside this ribbon cable, and they have black ones in by these. So we'll say for as much as we can compare A to B, B to A, whatever, that those are in the right location. Wow. And we're going to put, we could mark all the silver ones, but it's pretty obvious whether it's a machine, a coarse thread screw, or, and I don't have it, I just put it in something, if it's a coarse thread silver screw or a machined threaded silver screw. So we got coarse thread, fine thread. The fine threads would be the machine screws, the coarse threads thread into the plastic. So you can tell those apart. We have the black ones marked here, so it's safe to say take that apart. I would say we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws and this metal bracket to figure out where it goes, hopefully underneath there, unless there's another part missing, I don't know. And on top of that, we need to find out where this long coarse threaded silver screw goes to swap it with a shorter that holds this Wi-Fi antenna down. So there's a long coarse threaded one. All these ones I'm pulling out they're all short, they're not long. I have to find the long location of a long one to pull out. What do we have? What are you? That would be another short one. We checked that. There's really not much more to check. Where these are threading in. Is that machine? Short, we already checked. Be short. Be real short. Oh, yes. Because it screws into a long peg. Let's be a long one. Longer or short? Same size. So we can't swap that. I think I've looked over some of these, but comparing all these is getting confusing. Yeah. You know what? I did say we were missing. Where are the screws we took out? We need to compare with those too. Okay. So we have our two long ones for our power supply. We have a short one to hold down our Wi-Fi antenna. And it goes here. And that's basically what is left. We have 4 black screws to find homes for. So Torx for the end. Alright, let's flip it over and take a look. Okay, I found the home for one more silver one. That's where it goes. That one has a home. The two for the power supply go there. The two Torx, long and short, go there. The black. We need to find homes for the four metal or four black machine type screws. I'm not quite sure where they go. So. Oh, I know what they're for. Is that really like that? Okay, well, here we go. Time to play doctor on this one. I know where they go. I think we need to get this metal plate removed as best we can. Let's go for it. Just gonna start pulling all the screws. I think they are the screws that hold Oh. That didn't go there, man. Oh my. That really didn't go there. What is that screw? That was the one of the... I don't have it. I don't have it to compare. I have it in another spot, but not that spot. I have it on the front, and that was not... Wow. Oh, wow. That was the... wind the coarse threaded screw through. Machine threaded, like a coarse thread through a fine thread hole. Not good. Unless I'm wrong. Am I wrong about that? No, those are not. That's where two could possibly go. Alright, so we have two more mystery screws that are the wrong thread. Metal, coarse thread should not be threading in like that at all. It's one of those guys. We'll throw it in that pile. Hopefully upon pulling out all these little fine threaded ones that are silver, we find a spot where some of them are wound into plastic and it's the fine thread. That way there's two. Two rogue screws get homes. We do have two left over, or four left over, black fine thread ones, so it's a possibility they take up the two spots where two wrong screws were just discovered. No promises on anything. This ribbon cable was all folded wrong too. It goes in this location here and was folded way over here and had a, that's the normal bend it should have, but it actually goes over and then folds down like so and then goes into the power button, not folded under way back an inch back. So we got to put that in a bit. This is nuts. The amount of screws in a PS4. Not for easily distracted, easily losing your interest watching something. There's so many to get this metal deck off of here. To get into the unit. It's, yeah, a whole new level of madness. What are you? Are you in plastic? You're in plastic. No, you loser. Okay, so we're gonna pull. Let's see where we're attached still. We're attached here. And I think that would be, yeah. Pull our antenna wire and get it out of the way. So we need to get that screw out from the other side, which will be our friendly neighborhood Torx T8. Let's pull it. It is the longer screw. I think it's just as long as the one that goes in the power supply. So we have that off. Let's hope. Here's the hope, and lift this up and find out where we've got missing screws. Wow, what is that? That do not belong. Okay, so yeah, we've got to go under the motherboard. So we're going to take a quick look. Wow, you destroyed all your little heat sinks for the RAM. That's not good. That's not good, man. Oh my. We're going to put them back on the best we can. That's all we can hope for. That one's completely missing. What? Oh, I don't know. I don't have any of these. Hopefully it's there somewhere. I don't have any thermal pads to do this. I don't even have any used consoles. Okay, so looking at this again, let's see what screws match up. That matches that don't. That does, don't, does. And that's the one that comes through from the other side. Wow, what a nightmare. You're completely missing one of the little RAM shields, or RAM thermal pads that goes onto your chips, NAND chips. The cooler for it. That's not cool, man. Not cool. But we'll see what we can do. Alright, so now we're going to really make an attempt to lift our motherboard out. Oh, hold on. Yeah, we already screwed up. We gotta pull these wires here. Where are you? Come here. You went under? You are. Let's put you under there. Look cool. Look good. Don't fall out of there, motherboard. That would not be very nice. Or no, you go through the top. Right? Right. And then under. Okay. Much better. Need to disconnect our other Wi-Fi antenna. We've got that. Real quick, let's take a look-see. We had this on. We had this sitting on here. And that was the one missing, so it will be that center hole. And that's where our piece is going to sit, I do believe. And that, whenever our motherboard goes back on here, let's set it back in here, we'll simulate this quick. These ribbon cables out of the way. So our motherboard will be setting there. And then the hole that we didn't get to mark yet was a black marker, which is this one, this center hole here. So we'll say right along the edge, in between the little and the big ribbon cable. When this comes back on, right there, that's the one we couldn't mark, so we found one home for a black screw. Let's put a dot. And that was that little metal piece that was missing. So we found out where it goes. I think it varies from model to model. I can't promise anything, of course. I don't know. I know nothing. It sits there. Under the motherboard gives it support as well as okay, they're at least in the right spot. So is that and that? Well, let's see. I don't know about that. That and that, yes, they're in the right spot. So, it's fairly easy to see if you've never torn anything like this apart, how quick you can start losing pieces. Like I said, I don't even have this stuff memorized. I don't care to. What are you, machine screw? Or can we use a coarse? No, you're a coarse thread. Nice. Okay, well at least you're in the right spot. else do we need to gut you? Alright, so we've got a few metal screws left. I guess this, another thing that I was told was this was torn down completely to clean out the fan. I don't know how far completely is though. That is a long screw. And then finally, you. Oh. You don't go there. You're ruined. Or do you? We'll compare it. So we can't take it off that way. That does hold the fan in, I think. That just went into metal. That should have been a sheet. A black screw. Black. Let's check it. Yes. Okay, so the coarse thread will thread through and cut the threads, but there's definitely metal there for a black screw to thread in. So, we found the home for 1, 2, 3 of the 4, and then the fourth one. At least 2, if not 3. We still might have 1 to go. Let's continue this beautiful teardown and detective work of where these screws go. Alright, and there's our heatsink and everything that goes with it. This is our fan. I'm guessing a couple of the screws that were going to be extra. Let's pull these out and see what's happening with them. Yeah. Coarse thread, it goes into plastic. Coarse thread, so we did have extra of those. And now the fan comes out, and yeah, we should have had. It's not. Very disturbing. Seems like 2 would go there, but I think, is that the 2 that come through that hold the fan on? Yeah, 1 and 2, correct. Alright. One thing we're going to do to keep this thing at least running cooler is we're going to put new thermal paste on. The CPU, GPU, the whatever, the chip that's in this thing. So we'll put new on. I don't know if the individual that did the tear down or worked on this, if he had any to do that whenever working on it. Okay, so we're hitting everywhere we need to. these are definitely not coarse. So that's, yeah, that's a metal. And then that should bind to it. The motherboard, okay, we're getting there. I'm going to flip this over and hopefully not lose a bunch. So yeah, we're missing at best with one entire silicone pad gone. We have one that's all busted up. We could probably use part of it on one, part of it on the other. It's not going to have a nice square look, but since it's already broke, we will use it. We're not going to cut them up though. We'll just go for it that way. Let's flip this over and give it a go. We're going to clean that up quick. This thing would have had a lot of air gaps on it, the way it was, if it was just pulled apart and put back together, so that it would have not have been making great contact. That thermal compound is old, so it's literally just chunking up. There's still some tack left to it, not much. Super easy to clean off, not used to that. That was pretty cool. Usually it's baked on there. I don't imagine this is a super old unit. Or perhaps they did have some and put some on. It just, I don't know. I don't know what could have happened. Anyhow, we're going to use some IPA and clean. Do we have any? Certainly. I really didn't want to get into tearing the optical drive out, but we're going to have to, because that's one of the things not working. I want to see if something stuck, something came out of place. It was taken apart to that level to see if it could be fixed by somebody that doesn't normally work on stuff. So that's I think that's as far as we're going to have to take it. This may be tomorrow though. I don't want to lose a whole bunch of time in this black hole. We'll give it a shot though. Boy, that was a dang annoying sound. My computer, you know, when just the metal of your case shifts slightly and you get that hum. Oh, that was getting nerve-wracking. Anyhow, thermal compound, let's do it. Start the reassembly process of this. How many times am I gonna have to do this till I figure out where all the screws go? Hold on a minute, hold on a minute. Yes, you will go in here like so. How many shall I forget? I think we can get to the optical drive. Yes, we should be able to without having to do a complete nutso teardown. You should come out with a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2? Or no. You're getting crazy with me, bud. Tell me I gotta come all the way down like this to get that drive out. That's not good news. Not good news. I don't like that news. As I throw the fan around. Alright, so let's screw it back in. One mistake already. Yeah, they do get dusty. I'll agree. I'll agree on that one. Okay, so reevaluation of this console while we're rebuilding it. I think screws going back in the wrong spot. Power button not being held in firmly could have given me a wrong impression that the power supply was no good. So I think the whole pointless stream of yesterday was just bunk, no good. That the power button works, power supply works. We just couldn't get it to click it on because of not being held in properly. Let's explore that now. Once we get, we're going to do the build up. Man, I hate to think about this optical drive. I really do. I'm going to say there's a lot more to it than what I'm thinking just looking at it. There's a whole piece we can't take out right there. That whole metal shield that we just, it's, I don't want to say irrelevant, but just, does that door just come off? Let's investigate this very quickly. Take a couple screws out and see. So those screws are definitely different. We've got a ribbon cable here. That is pretty scary, the fact that that's there. What are you? Where do you go? I don't want to rip any FPC connectors for ribbon cables. Nothing of the sort. We're going to unstick this to be able to lift this up. That is just, this is all bad. All the way around. Alright, let's lift this little door off of here. My friend, get out of the way. Wow, that doesn't even come out. Okay, so we'll flip it out of the way. Alright, that's just grease. I thought we had burrs on the gears. Motor slides smooth enough. There is no disc stuck internally that I can see. How? Wow. Is it really that simple? That's what you're replacing? Not the whole drive? You're doing the slider for the laser? That's amazing. Okay, I've never torn one of these down that far. That is actually pretty cool. There's just kind of chill on there. Nice, nice. I don't think, well, I suppose we have a few more screws to take out. Bye-bye, Wi-Fi. And the power button also? Are you kidding me? Keep you separate. You're important to us. Alright. Oh, I don't know if I should have... Yeah, I don't think... I think... Well... Before we start flipping this over and gears fall everywhere, we're going to unstick you. And definitely this one, since it doesn't come out. We're going to unsnap it and set this laser slider mechanism there. Oh, it falls out that way. It's not easy. Let's put this on. Just to prevent loss of gears. Okay, so here's what we want to look at. Why? What's going on that this doesn't appear to be sliding and letting a disc enter. Are we missing that piece that goes between the rollers that we read about? It looks like it is there. So is that how you trigger these inward? To do anything else with them? Remove them possibly? There's a little catch that these arms won't go in any further if they're hitting it. I got the one in, but this other one, yeah, he don't want to move. So Well, this is something I'm going to have to read up on, study some more. I never mess with optic drives, the mechanism, other than the few old like tape decks and the belts being worn on that, or the spindle, the center part on CD players or PS1s, the original, like PSX, PS1, whatever you want to call it, when they would wear out Discmans, a few random things. Fascinating that, you know, 2019, 18, whatever, whenever this was made, we still got all these complicated moving levers and everything that make the stuff work. So let's flip this over and be careful. We got the laser to put back in. Semi-important part anyways. It's going to go down, that comes up out of the front. Dang it, we gotta plug this ribbon cable in. It has to go through. I'm going to say that if they got it down this far, none of the screws were taken out of the disk drive. I hope none of them were taken out. That would, yeah, that'd not be cool. So let's go ahead and put these back together and start rebuilding this thing. This is going to be fun. I think that there's just probably a broken gear, tooth on a gear got broken, or burr on the gear, something stuck, broken, wedged. I didn't see anything internally taking a look at it, but then again, like I said, this isn't what I normally work with. And when it comes to something that I don't normally work with, and it's mine personally, I just buy the part to replace it. But in this case, I'm not sure what these cost. I think some of the drives can be, you know, used pieces, 40 to 50. I've seen, looking around before, I think I've seen like $130, $140 for the whole drive unit maybe. I could be way off base on that, so don't quote me on those numbers. Where? There you go. All right. Everything seems to be working as should, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows, my friends? Let's put it back together and fight to PC another day. I like it. We're gonna keep you. We know we need you. Let's grab a couple of you. I don't see any arrows. No, our board is going to, the fan will have to go up front so it would slide in. There's nothing, no way how. There's no holes in the motherboard. There's nothing there. That, without a doubt, is going to sit there. We have one that goes there. Alright, I found the location for one of our extra silver screws. Let's find the one that's threaded, not you. Watch me be way wrong. I'm going to say no. It holds the disk drive in. Are we wrong on this one? It very well could be. Let's hope not. Let's pretend that it's okay. Another thing I noticed with this friendly little unit here is dust does build up quick, but it doesn't seem as though this heatsink was cleaned out. Maybe it was, maybe it was overlooked in the tear down. We'll go ahead and brush it all off now. Okay, cool, cool, cool. No RAM chips, no nothing. Oh, you go over top. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. You would go in here, correct? Correct. You belong elsewhere. Get out of the way. Excuse me, sir. Can you move? Please, can you move? Thank you. You look great. That's where you go. Alright, and that is... There's no way. Are you metal? Can you screw into plastic? I don't see it. I see it. Let's see. Let's see if a... Watch, we'll be one short. But if we're one short, you know what? It's one short that will... We can access with this thing almost entirely put together. I don't believe it. Well, since we can access it when it's almost entirely together, we will do that later. Okay, hit me with it. What do we got? We got this guy. This nightmare thing that was stuck somewhere in that vicinity, and then this as well. Which does not belong there. That does. Alright, time for our goop. We want to make sure our thermal pads are still on. We're going to try and blow some of the dust and just brush lightly to remove dust from those thermal pads. I know it's dirty, but that's what we got. We're not dirty, dusty. Same thing, right? Something, it's not a misprint, something hard is stuck to the die of the CPU, GPU, which is really concerning. It's not like a plastic, nope, it was just a really hard piece of thermal compound. Alright, let's put a blob on here. and start our reassembly. Where do you go? First things first is plug in our fan and our few ribbon cables. We know that our metal shield sits down over them, so we can plug most of them in now. If you are tearing down to this level, one thing to take note of: when you get this one back in, lay it down, lay it flat there, make sure it's nice and square, press the extra in, and then put your sticker down. If it's going to stick, yeah, that was peeled up before, so that is one reason it's not sticking. That's what holds the ribbon cable for the slider rail to move back and forth. We're going to have to put something there, possibly Captain tape. I don't have any stickers like that, and there's a little plastic clip on the housing for the drive that this little ribbon cable clips behind, and then it runs across and snaps in here. This one is not one that's a socket and then you snap a lever or an arm down. You just literally press it in. Same with this one up here on the end. They're both press-in ribbon cables. Let's plug in our power supply lead. And here's what I was talking about. When we go to flip this over or flip it down, we have a thermal pad stuck here, and we have that one, so we have the next two. We're going to be missing this one entirely. These broken pieces here line up with this busted piece, and then we have the three in a row for these three. One thing we have to do before we go any further, tell me, we got to lift it back up. I think we do, yeah. Now let's pull these out quick. I did squash that thermal compound, so it's going to be stuck a little. We're going to put another little bead in the center, but we need our little metal friend to sit in here, so we have something to screw that black screw that was missing through the top in. Alright, there he goes. It's actually quite a bit. That will seal back down marvelously. Let's move you all out of the way, my friends. Get out of the way. Alright, there's the PS4. Or the power supply. You know it's time to be done whenever you're mixing up words. Why are you not going together? It's very concerning. Well, I suppose. That's right. We have the ones, these are from the other side. So what is the move here? We literally got little pieces. Is some cooling better than none? Seeing how we're just missing most of it. That one would actually... yeah, right there. Okay. So that's the blank one. That one goes there. Dead center of that. So let's pull this piece off as well. And try and make it work. And put the flat parts together. Like I said, I don't have any of these thermal pads. I've heard a few people online say they don't recommend using different ones because they are different thicknesses. I want to say not consistency, but different firmnesses possibly. But we will reuse a part that we have of one. Try and make this other. What was that? Boy, I don't know whether to believe that or not. I don't. How are you going to get those out if you have that screwed together and it's pressing down? You're not. I don't care that it was like that to tear it apart. We're not going to put it back like that. We will put these back in a moment. Goes down, clips into metal. So that's where the metal ones were. Who knows? We'll get to those. We can access them with it being basically reassembled. The little metal piece I put in was one of these two. Which one? I think, which one don't I have? So I have these. Should be that one. It was one of these black screws. it was missing completely. We can now thread it in. That's what that was for. We discovered that earlier. And it works. Alright. Let's check one more spot just in case it was this one. Because the black screws and the silver ones, which are both the same thread, did thread in. Alright, we're exploring PlayStation 4. Alright, very good. We're going to lift this back off of here momentarily. That's what I wanted to see. And then there's our piece that lifted up. Let's throw them back on the other one. Alright, you go on. You on top. You're guilty. Guilty party here. Let's do it. Boy, those are super iffy. I don't like, they can't be touching there. They've got to come out this way to even be functional. Alright, that's it. When we put this on, we will lock it down. What are you? Give me a moment. That was so funny, I should have put that on speakerphone. I don't believe that they would ever apologize, but if they would, I accept it. Electric utility company wants to apologize. Okay, so let's continue this rebuild. This is what fun. What fun this is. We have the few screws that come through to this side. We're going to put a couple in, and then we'll flip it over and put these couple long screws in. Let's get a few black metal ones, just enough to hold this thing in where it needs to go. I don't think I've forgotten anything major yet at this point. What are you, and why are you not going together? You're laughing at me. Why? Alright, there you go. Looks good. I feel like there's a lot more screws that went in places that I haven't found them. Of course, I wasn't counting. If so, we will go back and handle that later. Alright, same length there and there. These go through and hold the top deck on. black screw. One of the ones that didn't have a home now has a home right there. We know that is what? What is that thing? The other giant Torx. Let's go ahead and put it in. If anybody ever makes it this far through one of the videos, you can definitely see why people do these and edit them. You should definitely not be doing this real time like this guy, this dummy here, but it's what I do, and I share it. So if you make it this far, you're a true legend. Thank you for doing so. Alright, our wire is tucked in. Let's attempt to snap our Wi-Fi wire on. And it's sure to get down there. Quit giving me problems. Just enough, just enough. Crossed and out. That's the power supply. I don't think we need to worry yet about that. We'll get to that side. Let's work on the important stuff. See how many screws we actually did forget. 'Cause I don't think we have everything we need. Let's start with the black ones. Find out what we can get tied down together. Already I like the look of this small pile of screws. I'm not confident yet that I didn't forget like where 8 of them went, so usually after you do a couple tear downs of the same thing in a row, you'll start having some memory build up of where the stuff goes, but yeah. Not my thing. It's a great while usually in between tear down, build up of any console. One of my favorites over the years was the PSP 2000. The one was a little difficult, I thought. A lot of pieces to it. I like the revision of the 2000, not so fond of the 3000 in the way it was put together compared to the 2. Friend, what is your problem? I thought you might want to go together. Okay, I was right. Yes, no, maybe so. we have two tiny black ones that I think go up front in these metal parts rather than the little silver ones. I think these black ones would go in. Not entirely sure, so we're just gonna so what they had in here was a coarse threaded one in the one, boy, if that isn't impossible to put in with the thing standing on end, I don't know what is or isn't. It's definitely not a coarse thread hole. It is a hole for a fine thread screw. I don't buy that one bit though. So silver one's there. I think only one was messed up. The other two silver ones were in there fine. So we'll find a home for those two in the future. For right now, let's go around and do the silver metal ones that go on this top metal deck into metal. Two more, and then one beyond that. Okay, and part of the problem with having the black screws in here is they went through and they had cut into what appeared to be the ground, at least a ground on the motherboard. Like it was actually, they were contacting the motherboard because the black screws are longer than these little silver screws. Not good. Not good, my friends. These ones miss the motherboard entirely and just go up through. Where I could see flipping to. So you can't see them from the outside, even though it doesn't match what I have on mine. Would be moving these two short ones to a spot where you're not going to see them. They're the same thread. You won't see it when you look in the back vent of the machine either. And if you're peeking in that back vent, what are you doing with your life? Stop it. Some tech or IT person that put that PS4 together don't want you looking there in case they mix the screw up. Look away. so we've got to attach you, which makes sense with coarse metal, and then our two black screws. I'll take this spot right here because they wind literally down into thin air inside the console where there's no moving parts and not to be seen by human eyes. I would not put money on it. But it's where we're putting them. Alright, we need a Wi-Fi cable, which is this guy. Let's try and connect it and route it across the board. Attach it in the button. What is this unique form of torture? I'll take you around the chip. And you're stuck there. Let's pretend it's okay. You go there. And then where? One in, two in. Let's go for number 3. In. This is the last thing I want to get out at this point, but we'll do it. We'll do it. Keep your fingers in one piece, and I will be very happy. One piece should hold it. I like that. The less I have to play with that, the better. Alright, we have a bunch. We have a short one for the power button. Let's put it in, and the ribbon cable for it. Okay, so like I said, this was kind of the configuration. This cable was all bunched up and twisted inside the machine. It doesn't go like that. Hopefully none of it's ripped. it was folded there, which you can see when plugged in. Well, let's just plug it in and show what happens with it folded there. You can still make it go to where you need it to go, but it might get bunched up in the machine. With it folded there, it doesn't get to the destination you want it to. It shoots off down here, which will require another fold. No, it comes over, doesn't get folded under, comes over here, gets folded over, further over this way, comes down, and then literally does a little twist fold, and goes in to our power switch, which is here, and has a fold up and a fold down, kind of like that, and gets tucked in right beside this peg. Shake break. That works, that's good. Alright. What now? Oh yeah, that's right, these pain in the butt ones that we're not quite sure where all they go. Let's find them. Let's find their secret locations. See how many extra we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Easy there, wise guy. Don't get jumpy yet. That's for when the power supply is in. That is nothing. It's not what I meant. I meant it over here in the corner. I have another one for the corner. But the other corner. One for the front. Okay, that leaves us 2. One of which is for, those 2 are for a power supply. That is the other one that releases our power supply. Let's take a look here. Hey, easy now. Ah, yes, I forgot. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to, whoa. Phil, what was that? Soldered blob. Hopefully that wasn't important. I'm gonna say no. Alright, so we're going to plug our power cable in and put our power supply. Let's get our wire fed up through here. Power supply is down in. Looks good. We only need to tuck the wire down in here a little. Enough. enough that it stays out of the way. Okay, so we have one short Phillips screw that holds our Wi-Fi antenna down, and then the other one that holds the power supply in from the other side. I'm not saying that every screw is in 100% the right spot, but every screw is in the part where it should be for the threading that it is. Let's put our two long ones in for our power supply. So those are our two coarse threaded Phillips screws that just went in on either side. Looking good, looking good. And where are the guts for this guy? Alright, there's some guts there. There's some guts. Woo! Ain't nothing like throwing it on the floor. We almost did. Alright, there's our metal shield. Slightly happier. Long one to the right, short one to the left. These are our Torx. Finally. I don't think we'd get this far. We're beginning to lose hope. Okay. We need to flip it over and secure our power supply in right here. Sorry, we need the Phillips coarse thread. Let's put them in. And that, other than the Torx screw on the back and the screw for the hard drive, is every screw for this machine. None left over, which is amazing considering the state of it. Real quick, snap this thing together. Go ahead. How are we looking at this thing? It's upside down currently. Let's flip it over. Put this screw on the top. Or yeah, the lid on the top. There's our tray. I want that on. I did that wrong. The back goes on, I think. Yeah, the back goes on first. If I'm not mistaken, back and then the front. Okay, flip it over. Let's put the bottom on it. Front over, get the buttons in place. Everything is connected, right? Did that, the fan, boom, boom, boom. Power supply is all connected. Okay, we've got the hard drive. There's our door, and finally the last piece to this puzzle, the very last screw, the Torx screw. That holds that bottom on. Alright, quickly now, since there wasn't much to it, we're going to reassemble my wife's PlayStation 4. Sorry, PS4 Slim. Should not be that involved of a process at this point. That's wrong. That's for the power supply. We need U. Watch, this is the one we're going to mess up on. The one that we had the power supply out. Okay, and this thing, we're taking it home tonight. I forgot I bought Kingdom Hearts. The newer one they released. 3? Is it 3? I forget what it is. They released it and I was playing it. I might play. It'll be okay. Be alright. Alright, power supply. Looks good. You look good, my friend. Let's put you back together. Alright, and we got one more here. Phillips. To lock in that power supply. From this side, that will be our bottom. Does it even matter? Let's just put it on. Put the front on, our power button, everything's in where it should be. Flip it over. Put the top on, back first. Put this SSD back in. Don't like that, it's not a fancy little loop. I think we can call it a day there. Let's put this security Torx in the back. Oh wait, we gotta test this PlayStation and see. Will the disk drive work? I don't think so. Will the fan work like it should? Probably. Now that it's plugged in. And will it turn on? I'm hoping so. Okay, so this is my wife's. This is the, where is it? CUH-2115B. We'll set this over here. And let's pull out what we need. We need a power cord and an HDMI of theirs, which is here. No parts left in the bag. That's the more important part. We will use their HDMI cable. I'm not going to run it into the stream. The cable links only like on certain consoles. And then we have our handy little power cord. Alright, let's get this on camera if we can. I'm going to zoom way in. So soon we'll plug it in. Uh-oh. We got no... Oh! Our power button works when we hit it. So the power button was a little iffy. We can hit to eject the disc. Now, we can get a disc stuck in there if it'll accept one. I doubt it will. Okay. This does have the person's name up here. I just synced the controller. Let's turn this up so you can hear it. We've got a Madden game here. And I think I see the problem already. So I think we got lucky with the disc going in. Yeah. So I'm going to say there's something messed up with the rollers. I don't know what. Possibly something got bent, sensor, that it doesn't want to take it. I can't believe I put it in and it came back out. I'm not going to say fixed. It's something further for me to look into, and I'm not going to take and jam a disc in there. But at least the power button seems to be working. I guess it could be iffy. The important part is everything is put back in the same, or all the screws are put back where they need to be. So let's turn this thing off. Mission half accomplished. I just turned it off. We're going to try and turn it back on with the power button again as soon as it shuts off. Okay, so it's glowing. What is that? Sleeping? Alright, no more blinky blinky sleepy. It fell asleep. Yeah. So you can put a disc in, it seems, when it starts up with that roller noise. I don't know. I'm not a console person. Couldn't tell you one bit. So it is reading the disc. Let's eject it. The drive keeps engaging. I'm going to say there's a definite problem. With the drive. Power button seems to be working now. Alright, shut her down. We're calling it a day there. Power options, turn off PS4. Clearly. We got something accomplished. How much, I don't know, but something better than nothing. And it's put back together correctly. Didn't have any bearing on the disk drive, but at least some on the power button. It seems to work now when you hit it, because it's being held firmly in place, not just where when you press the switch would rock because the wrong screw. The screw didn't have no grip. Those fine threads were smaller than the coarse threads that dug into the plastic and pulled it down. So, there's that. I'll call that good for now. Have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time this is. Thanks for hanging out. If this is your thing, help somebody fix something. Like this, share this, get it out there. Try to fix something older, get it working instead of buying something new. I think that's an okay message. coming up, we're going to have some fun. I'm not sure what to do though. Let me just announce this quick. Okay, so we have an old iPod Video 5.5 Gen. I broke my display cable that lights up the display on accident. We're going to put a new display in. I currently have an SATA hard drive in here. I do want to kind of try out this one, which is, what is this, an iFlash quad. It takes 4 SD cards, or micro SD cards. And why would I want to do that? To add, oh, where is it? Now, granted, we're missing the ribbon cable, but I want to add a much bigger battery than the one that came stock in it. I think these were 650 milliamps. This is 2000 milliamps, or 2200. This is 650, maybe 850 at best. So we're going to get some more capacity. It may fit with the large back, with the SATA drive the way it is, but I don't like the thickness of it. So we're going to go back to a stock, thinner 30 gig back. That's what it originally was a 30 gig iPod, I think. Either 30 or 60 maybe. I'm going to say 30. We'll go back to the factory one. Much thinner. Just felt better in the hand. I don't know. Probably in my head. But yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to check out the possibility of the SATA drive. If not, we will go with the iFlash quad in there instead of the little spinny hard drive that is destined to fail with some enough bumping and banging around, and you will definitely kill your iPod hard drive. Why they put spinny drives in them, I don't know. I guess capacity. Who knows? Who knows? Apple, tell me. Leave a comment. Anyhow, yeah, I think we're done here. That's it. Thanks for clicking that link. We'll be back again with more fun. Thanks for hanging out. I'll back to check out the iPod stuff, and we will have a good one. Thank you so much, as always, anybody that clicks that button. It's time to go home. I'm done now. I can leave, right?